What up, Rumi? Sometimes the biggest battles we fight aren't the ones with other people, they're with ourselves.
Mhm.
Fear, anger, self doubt, old beliefs, the story that we keep telling ourselves every single day. Tonight's guest has spent decades exploring what it really means to master the mind. He's a Kung Fu master, international champion, best selling artist, hypnotherapist, and someone who's dedicated his life to helping people break free from the emotional patterns that keep them stuck. But tonight isn't going to be all about martial arts and hypnosis. It's about becoming a stronger human being. We're talking about emotional healing, discipline, fear, confidence, purpose, parenting, and what it truly matters to take control of your life. Whether you're whether you're looking to become more mentally stronger, overcome something that's been holding you back, or you're just curious about how the mind really works, I think you're going to enjoy this a lot. Welcome to the in the house, Jeremy Roadruck. What's going on, my brother?
Thank you, man. I am excited to be here,
And I'm
and yeah, I was checking out some of the topics that you touch on, and it's like it's real talk, and that's what we need more of. Is there's so much posturing online, and there's so much people just put up things, and it's like they're trying to act some kind of way, and it's like nah, raw, real, open, honest. The sooner we get to that, the faster we move forward. So I'm excited for tonight's conversation.
I'm excited too, and thank you for the compliment. I really appreciate that because here I try to because just giving you a little background, like within the house, originally started this with three of my friends as social
Mhm.
commentary and kind of like a comedy thing. But life happens. One of my friends had a kid. My other friend moved back to Puerto Rico, and my other boy went to pursue his dreams in the financial market, in the financial
Mm.
sector. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
So when everything had, I would at that point what I thought was going to shit was really a blessing because now I was allowed to kind of expand and talk to people with different experiences, different ways of life than mine, different beliefs than my own, and it's helped me learn a lot and connect with a whole bunch of people. So I try to keep it as real as possible. I try to keep it as you know peer to peer as possible, if that makes any sense. I'm
Yep.
not here really to like fluff shit up. I'm just here to like talk to get to know somebody and have them share their experiences with me. Really,
Yeah. 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 That's the thing that's going to happen, I think, as AI continues to expand and you got more people creating online content that's all regurgitated
yeah,
bell curve. It's the middle of the bell curve fluff. And the more we get genuine human connection and getting real with people, because there's so much that's going to be able to be faked video, audio, like everything can be faked. And so what's real? Well,
that's true.
you and me in a room. Let's go. Like that's
That's a
real.
big that's a big fact. And what I think is that AI isn't really like people are mistreating it, and like it should be used as what it is, a tool to
Hmm.
enhance what you already got going on. You know what I mean? Like it should be
Exactly.
able to like kind of like give you crutches in areas where you're not proficient at.
Hmm.
If you don't do great graphic art, you have AI that could do your graphic art for you. Or if you're not great at researching, it could do a deep dive for you and basically give you the keynotes on what you're looking for. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
just
But
use
then
no, you were saying?
let's say then you gotta know what to do with it because it's like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
got this raw data and now I'm just gonna regurgitate it and spew it out." And it's like, no, 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 no. There's a story about Tony Robbins, and he was at Experts Academy by Brandon Burchard,
Yeah.
and Tony was checking out what Brandon's doing, and like Tony likes to keep an eye on up and comers and stuff. And so Tony ends up asking, "Hey, can I get on stage?" And that's
Yeah.
like $1 million thing, and like it's a whole big thing, and no charge. He was just like motivated to do it. And Brandon's like, "Yeah, please, absolutely." So Tony gets on stage, and at Experts Academy, Tony Robbins standing on stage says, "Don't be an expert because I can speed read. I can read the top 30 books in your industry, and I can out expert you in 30 days. And I've got a marketing team, and I've got this whole machine behind me. So don't be an expert. Instead, be an authority because you are the only qualified person to talk your lived experience,
That's a
right?"
big
And
fact.
so
Yeah.
it's like be the authority in your own journey is a whole different ball of wax than, experts we can get, AI we can get, but the lived experience, the expert can help, or the master can help you round the corners and get further, farther, faster, cheaper versus DIY it yourself.
True.
So that being an authority like stuck out with me, and I'm like, yeah, like every single person is an authority in something, and if we're smart, we'll shut up and listen.
Yeah, but that's the same thing like having a mentor, or um, it's like having a mentor where that person is sharing their experiences with you in order for you to learn and grow quicker. And a lot of people don't take, and this is me going back to AI. A lot of people don't take the tool that we have available to kind of like not mentor them, but at least guide them in the right way and give them the proper information they need,
Yep.
versus that tool just doing the whole job for you.
Exactly. It's I don't have to think. I'm just going to create a faceless channel and I'm going to put out a bunch of crap and it's going to make money because of advertisers. It's like, yeah, and then we all get more and more crap advertisers and there's no actual anything. It's just regurgitated stuff left and right. It's going to just drive whatever the platform, it's going to die because it's all just dreck. It's all just garbage. And we're going to get real experiences. Where can we go to talk to real people and really actually know person to person this is legitimate?
Yeah, that's true. And with long form conversations like the one like in the house and other podcasts, you get that raw emotion, you get that raw experience, you get all that information. It's just the fact that people's attention span nowadays is 8 to 10 seconds, and if you can't clip them in there, they're like, all right,
Mm.
cool, what's next? Instead
Yeah.
of saying oh, cool, Jeremy Roadruck, I know he's a kung fu master. Let me see what he has to say about this martial arts style, or this, that, and the third. Let me dive into it.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing too is people have lots of different domain expertise or domain experience. So it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, we live in a society that's pigeonholing people faster and faster because you're the this thing. And it's like, no, 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 no. We can be so much more than just this one little tiny because people get to the top of that hill and they're like, I'm not happy, I'm not fulfilled. And it's like,
yeah,
yeah, because life is more than just it's this vertical. Yeah, cool, now you got the vertical but there's no depth, there's no breadth, there's no nothing to your life except you're in this one tiny thin line, and it's like one tree in the garden when there's like a whole forest around you if you're open to it.
true on that. And I also think because of the fact that the platforms we do use, like YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, and this is for the creatives out there, those those platforms are constantly hungry, or and constantly ask you to produce more and more and more and more. Like before, like for instance, if we go back to like the '90s, early 2000s, right? When you had your favorite music artist drop an album, it'll take them 6, 7 months to drop 13 to 20 songs, and those 13 to 20 songs will be played for a whole year.
Yeah.
Now, Spotify is like, listen, we're not gonna push your stuff unless you're constantly dropping new music. And it's like, how you're gonna get good quality music, good quality art if I'm constantly having to, you know, always ramp up my production on it? Like, how am
Yep.
I gonna have any meaning in any of that?
Yeah, you'll have one good one because you
Yeah,
had all this lived experience and then you squeezed it for what it was worth. And now you're on the content treadmill and you're not actually living life and experiencing things,
yeah. And it
so then
kind of
there's no depth.
and that sucks because you might take a couple of months off, or life happens and you have this experience and you want to like really dive into your creative niche and express that. And yet again, the platforms that we're on and society kind of says, yo, listen, put this out this month, but what you have for me next month, because they already forgot about this great project you just put out that meant so much to you.
Right, right. It's like there was a guy, and I don't have the source for this, but there was a guy that figured out like with electromagnets, you can put somebody in this thing and you can fire this electromagnet and it pops their brain and they have the same experience that people have when they have a near death experience, like go towards the white light,
Yeah,
and he could just fire it off mechanically. He just give you this out of body experience and it feels like in this thing. And for some people it was this massive shift in their personality and it was just coming to accounts, and for other people it was Tuesday and it was just another high, and then they're looking for another high again because they're so addicted to the sensation,
yeah,
right? It's just like snacking on junk food and they're not actually getting it into the body, into the marrow, into their heart, into their mind. It's just next, 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 next. And so when I used to run my kung fu school, I would challenge the kids. I would say, what is growth for the sake of growth?
Yeah.
And they would think about it, and it's like, it's called cancer. Because if all you're doing is growing because you want to grow, and I want to experience everything that has, yeah, but there's no context behind that, right? I want to
I
jump out
got
of
you.
an airplane, and I want to climb the highest mountain, and I want to run the farthest distance. I want to have all the sex and do all the drugs and do all the play, and it's like, cool, why? Because it's just consuming and consuming and consuming. Yeah, that's cancer,
Yeah.
right? It's a cell inside a body that has no instructions of what to become except other than itself, and then it just replicates, and it just eats everything around it until it kills the host.
Yeah.
So growth for the sake of growth, yeah, that's cancer, kids. Have a reason behind the things you do. Have a
Sure.
logic. Don't be in such a rush.
No, but I also think it's because of the fact that what we're what's put in front of us too. Like, for instance, and I pick on Instagram all the time, right? When you're scrolling through Instagram, nobody's ever showing the process of the process of their journey. They're always showing the start maybe and then the victories. They're never
Yeah.
showing the late nights, the heartbreak, the tears, the sweat, the blood they spilled for their craft. They're always
Hmm.
showing the victory. And what's getting convoluted is that the newer generation and even millennials and older generations are looking at it like, huh, like people, it looks easy, and people want to consume. It does. People make it look
Yeah.
easy, and they want to consume everything because
Right.
society is not showing the real struggle and the real hard work it goes into, opening up a business, being a kung fu master,
Yeah.
podcasting, making music. They're not
Yeah.
showing they're not showing how you had to learn all that stuff, all the beatings that you taken and all that other shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, it 100%. It's like when I worked with the younger kids, because they heard something before, they think they know it. I'm like, yeah, you heard it, but you don't understand it.
Yeah.
Because now how do you use it? And that's the beautiful thing with martial arts specifically, right? Is martial arts has a tradition.
Yeah.
Show me. You got the skill, fucking throw the punch. Let's go. And if you can hit me, all right. But if you can't, all right, you got things to work on. Because do you understand time and space? Do you understand energy? Do you know how to create the moment? Do you know how to harmonize? Do you know how to break patterns? Like it's an ultimate reality check. Here's my point. Oh, I felt that. Here's my counterpoint. And if you got it, you got it. But if you don't got it, it's obvious. There's no woulda, coulda, shoulda. It
Yeah.
just is. Right. And so the kids will be like, oh, yeah, I know that. I was like, no, no, you've heard that. But if you understand it, now tell me how to use it. Show me how to use it. Right.
Show
Tell
them
me how to use it is the mind part. It's the mental. Do you have the right idea? But then show me you can do it is have you internalized your skill. Right. Because that's all that matters. Right. It's not just I have the theory and it's a great story. Cool. But if you can't implement it, it's dead knowledge. To know and not do is the same as to not know.
yeah.
So if you got it, all right, show me how you live in.
That-
Show me how you love it. Show me the consistency. And so we break apart like what we call technicians and practitioners, right? A technician, they got the skill, they can run the machine. A lot of fighters are technicians, but then their life is a train wreck, and they got drug issues, they got alcohol issues, they got gambling issues, they got girlfriend, boyfriend issues,
yeah.
because the lessons they're learning off the training floor, it's not the same. It doesn't unify, right? A practitioner, the thing I'm doing, and the practitioner could be any vehicle, right? It could be cooking, it could be investing, it could be parenting, it could be driving, but anything you can get better at with skill, anything you get better at with practice, we call it skill, right? That is a practitioner. As you cultivate the skill, it starts to influence how you live your life, and you find more calm and more centered and more peace and more relaxation, and you find things, what's true in one area begins to become true in other areas. That's the deeper knowledge or the deeper wisdom, and both of them are reality. Just I got skill, I can knock you the fuck out, like that's a cool skill, dude, but you're going to get old, and if you've been fighting the whole entire world, you have no friends, you have no family, you have no one that has your back. Lone wolf dies of exposure. Congratulations.
No, that's a big fact, bro. And then on top of that, and this is something that I used to argue with one of my friends on a lot on all the time with was that what's the point of obtaining knowledge, obtaining this experiences if you're not going to share it with anybody? Like, especially with the people that you're closest to. Like, if I know how to do something and then you're there like, hey Ariel, yo, I need help doing XYZ, right? And I'm like, yeah, I got you. And I just do it for you and not show you how to do it. It's a lose-lose for both of us because of the fact that you're not gaining the experience on whatever subject they may be. But it's a lose for me because now every time that you come across this problem, you're gonna be like, hey, do this for me.
I gotta carry you. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta carry you. And
Yeah.
that sucks because instead of spreading knowledge and spreading experience, people want to hoard it and be kind of gatekeep that shit, and it's not really conducive to like growing and all that.
Yeah. 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 Well, the definition we use in our Kung Fu system for wisdom is applying your knowledge, guided by compassion, to reduce your suffering and the suffering of others. Like, it's a lot of all at first, but it's like, if you don't apply what you know, that's not very wise. But then if you apply what you know, but from an I'm right point of view, there's not a lot of room for to breathe. There's no compassion, then people aren't going to feel like you care. They're feeling like you're just curb stomping them to get your result. So we got to apply it with compassion, which is leaving room. Because if you're full up to here, there's only this much left for the rest of the universe. That's a problem, right? But if you're completely empty, you don't know what you stand for, that's also a problem. So be halfway empty. But then to reduce your suffering and the suffering of others, because if I help you but increases my pain and misery, that's not going to be sustainable. It's not very wise. But if I help myself and I increase your pain and suffering, that's going to have blowback too, right?
True.
And so it's got to be a win-win in the long term. So how do we do that? And that becomes, if you start to look at that, like, how do we reduce suffering? There are billionaires right now that have so much money and so much capacity, and they have all these systems and processes and ways to maintain money, and that's great for them, comma. And have you studied the French Revolution? Do you know what happened to the 2%, the 1% religious and the 1% aristocracy, when the 98% realized there's way more of us and we got guillotines?
Yeah.
So you keep pushing people, eventually it's going to snap back. And it's not they're going to shut up and take it forever, because you're going to push people to a point, they are going to snap and it's going to get ugly and violent. And that's all preventable.
Yeah,
Because
really.
how do we create a win-win? Right? Because the people that, if you as a company look out for your customers, your clients, your workers, that's going to be the most sustainable thing in the long term, instead of profit, extract, and then just consume and disappear. Like, you can't take it with you, guys. You're going to die, and then what? I got this great urn that I'm buried in. Great. Someone could just pour you out and steal the urn.
True or not? But yet again, and you made a great point. Like, people who have like this crazy amount of wealth, and like companies who have this crazy amount of wealth, they should be doing things that help the common folk, gain. And it doesn't necessarily have to be financial, contributions. It could be education. It could be scholarships for children. It could be a whole bunch of things. Reform and putting that money to use where it benefits everyone, and especially the planet, because these companies are raping the planet, taking resources and not putting it back.
Yeah. There was an article I just saw. There's a couple.
Yeah.
And they just paid $550 million in medical debt. Yeah, it's the Snap CEO, Evan Spiegel and Miranda Kerr. They erased $550 million in medical debt in California.
Nice.
Right? And it's like, because you could start a debt company and you can go buy debt for pennies on the dollar, and then you could just like
collect
wipe people's debt out. Well, you could just wipe it out, or you could just go to people and say, "Hey, it says here you owe blah blah blah. Give me like $20. We're cool," and just wipe it. Right? Oh. So it's like, but how are people going to think about her and her husband because of what they just did?
Some people are gonna consider them saints. Some people are gonna think that they're up to no good, or they have some sort of underlying agenda. Hey, Jeremy?
Well, I'm back. It bounced for a second. Sorry.
It's all good. Did you catch what I just said?
No. What you said?
I said that some people are going to consider them saints. Some people are going to be iffy about it, and other people are going to say, these people have some sort of other agenda in place because of the fact that we've always seen that happen. We've always seen, the wealthy, quote unquote, do something good for the people, and then yet
Yeah.
again, it was really something self benefiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the story is that supermodel Miranda, her mom suffered and struggled with a health challenge and passed, and so it's like watching that happen made her want to
Oh,
do something about it. So
that's
time will
awesome.
tell, but I just the idea of that, of like, oh, you're worth X number of millions of dollars or billions of dollars, and it's like, oh, if you're worth $2 billion, give away $1 billion, you're still a billionaire.
Yeah. Like, and to be honest, how much money can one person really spend in their life?
I would like to find out.
Me too. I would love to find out, but I highly doubt if you gave me $1 billion today, I'm not gonna wait. Maybe if I was a wild boy, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
be able to. I wouldn't be able to spend $1 billion in my entire life, and that's me
yeah.
getting everything I want under
Mhm.
the sun, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah. There's something about probably why you don't have it is because you're not hurting hard enough to like, oh, I gotta hoard this from everybody else everywhere else. That's why I gotta be at this large number.
Nah, but it doesn't really make sense because when you get to that large number, right? You're gonna have what multi-million dollar mansion, a couple of cars. You only have one body, so it's not like you're gonna be your wardrobe is probably gonna be insane and whatnot, but it's not like there's more than one of you to kind of like you know reap the benefits of all of that. So
Yeah, yeah.
when
It's
you're
like you
there,
got you got one butt. So how many cars can you fit in? And you
yeah,
could just Turo. You could just Turo it, and not even have to deal with the upkeep and the insurance and all that crap. Right?
like I
Just let me just go get a car to go play with today.
yeah, you can do that. So like after a while, what are you gonna spend your money on? You're gonna have to.
Exactly.
You're gonna at one point you're gonna think about it and be like, maybe I should start giving back, and that's when doors open.
Yeah.
You
And
could you could go for
well, we need
like
to see that.
cancer research and all these
Yeah.
other things that would benefit society as a
Mhm.
whole.
Right. And that's how we start to change things is like not to attack billionaires and make them wrong and kill them and take all their stuff
Yeah,
because
no,
that's not a great way to influence people is to villainize them.
no.
But it's like, look at the good you could do. Look at the lasting impact you could make. Look at how you could literally turn the direction of humanity if you chose. You have so much power and so much capacity. So how could we frame a conversation to make it's in your best interest to do that? Can't do that if you're judging someone,
True.
right? Because you can't respect where they're coming from. All you do is villainize, or all that argument does is villainize. It's like you just keep making them wrong and then wonder why they don't step up. I don't know. Keep kicking them in the dick and then wonder why they don't show up for more.
Word. If your balls keep hurting, you're never gonna stand up straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna stay away from you guys.
But you so you're a kung fu master. How long have you been practicing kung fu? And I have
Uh
another question about that too.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Is kung fu just like a general term for like different
Mhm.
martial arts styles
Yeah.
versus, or is it like a derivative and then like all these styles blossom from it?
Every culture on earth has a fighting tradition of some sort.
Yeah.
And in like Western European, you look at the chivalric code, you look at knights and all that fun stuff. As the technology fighting as the fighting technology changed, the culture changed. And so a
Yeah.
lot of traditional hand-to-hand fighting in Europe kind of went away over time. But specifically, I've been studying since 95, and Kung Fu is a Chinese term that means skill and ability developed through hard work over time. So
Okay.
anything that you can get better at with practice is a type of Kung Fu, which means breathing is a type of Kung Fu, eating is a type of Kung Fu, making love is a type of Kung Fu, cooking, driving a car, running a business, like anything, if you could improve at practice, that's Kung Fu.
Okay.
Now it's used culturally to mean Chinese martial arts, but it's just a general blanketed term. And
Oh,
inside China, there's like so many different systems and approaches and skills. The Chinese martial arts, basically, it's Ti, Da, Sui, Na are the four skills. Ti is the Mandarin. Ti, or Tek in Cantonese, it means to kick. Da
okay.
is to strike. Na is joint controls, locks, breaks, chokes, um, suffocations. And then Swy is to unbend or to unbalance or to trip or to sweep or to throw. And so a complete martial art should have all four of those skills. So boxing, just pure boxing, would be considered a martial sport because it doesn't have kicking, it doesn't have throwing, it doesn't have controlling.
Right.
From that point of view, it's like, but the reality is you go against a high skilled boxer, they're never going to give you an arm long enough to hold on to. And so the idea that, oh, I'm going to do this against them, it's like try to catch their hand. Like
True.
you're already starting from a losing proposition because they move so fast, their hands are so quick. But that's a skill, right? So that's or da.
Yeah.
Da is striking. And so da could be a punch, but it could be a palm strike, it could be an elbow. So da is any type of using the limbs as a concussive weapon. So T and da, so kicking and striking, and the technique ends when I touch you. Swai and na, joint controls, submissions, takedowns, the technique begins when I touch you. And the body structure that supports a strong punch or a strong kick usually doesn't naturally flow into a grab or a takedown without some extra movement or extra repositioning or that kind of thing. And so in the Chinese martial arts, you have all these different families of skills or systems, and they cluster fighting skills with fighting ranges, right? Long kicking is
Okay.
a range, short striking or short kicking, long striking is a range. Trapping, where you're squared up and you can hit with elbows and hands and knees, that's a range. And then grappling, touching body to body, that's a range, whether it's standing up or on the ground. So you take these four skills and four ranges, and now you've got a matrix to kind of look at all fighting systems, and you can kind of grid it out. And this particular group favors this arrangement of stuff.
Okay.
And so if you're a long range fighter, kicking and striking, you're going to get someone more turned to the side, more bouncing, because they're trying to maximize the reach and the rotational power in their punches and their kicks. But someone who grapples is going to be more squared up and a lower center of gravity because they want to get under you and they want to connect with you and they want to put you on the ground to work you. So, imagine you set someone up in football and you have the defensive line and they all turn sideways and they're bouncing. That's not going to be a great defensive line.
Oh no. You're going to get destroyed.
We call it heaven, right? It's light, it's movement, there's lots of space. So you want squared up, you want wide base, lower center of gravity. That's earth, and then humans in between. So you look at quote unquote style. Well, really, those are like certain strategies to support certain ranges and certain tools.
Okay.
And so a traditional martial art should have an answer for everything, plus philosophy. There's usually some sort of energy work or mindset work. There's tactics and strategies. Usually there's some sort of weapons work because reality, go back 200-300 years. We don't throw down with our hands first. We got swords, we got knives, we got spears. And so it's like, we got to incorporate and deal with everything. That's real. So in our system, we talk about number one is be real, because we're learning life and death skills. Number two, be compassionate, leave room for things, because if we're going to fight, is this worth somebody dying tonight? Is this really, it's the ego and somebody in a bar being an ass versus, so be real, be compassionate, and where those two interact creates moments of beauty. Because if I beat you physically, you might not like me, you might hate me, you might want to kill me later. If I can beat you mentally, you might not like me, you might not want to kill me, but you might not like me, you might not respect me. But if I can beat you emotionally, if I can change your heart and we become friends, it's the best way to kill your enemies.
True.
But that's a high level skill. So to get to that level of skill, we got to go physical, then mental, then we can go emotional/spiritual. So that's kind of the gridding of like skill sets. And then different martial art families are going to kind of dig that and like, oh, that makes sense. Or, that goes, the practitioners go up to that, change the heart. Technician is dominate the body, maybe beat the mind, but dominate the body.
Yeah. I get you.
So it gives you kind of a way to relate to kind of, it all makes sense.
And because I always thought that like with, the different styles of Kung Fu and martial arts, especially with like, I believe China is the main one with like a whole bunch, like tiger style and crane style and all this. I thought that all those styles came from like different regions or like, different like religious practices depending on, what style you practice. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's Buddhism and Taoism as the main sections, right? But there's several famous mountains in China where you had dedicated religious people who studied martial arts and conflict for long periods of time, centuries, millennia sometimes. And so there were these pockets of knowledge, and then there was the military, and you would have people leave military service, they would learn skills, and they go back to their village, and then they would continue to develop those skills, and that became, Pao Falian, right? Is Pao family, right? Honga. Hong is the Hong family, Ga's family. So Honga is one. Choi Le Fut is three different families brought together. So you have a lot of family systems. People would say style, I would say system. But you have family systems, and there are regional. There's even ethnic. Like there was the
Yeah.
Hakka, the guest people. They had certain fighting systems they didn't teach. If you weren't Hakka, you can't learn this. Or if you're not Buddhist, you can't learn this. Or if you're not Taoist, you can't learn this. We won't teach you. Some of that stuff is going away as
Yeah.
society opens up, and that regionalism and that need for protection is changing. Um, but the fundamentals are the fundamentals. Tita Swaina, long range, having human earth, long range, long kick, long strike, trapping, grappling. Like those are the ways the human body is built. And
Yeah.
so you may have things tweaked out for a certain particular approach, but fundamentals are fundamentals. And the human skeleton is the human skeleton.
True. That's true on that.
Yeah.
And based on your experiences, coming up in the martial arts world, do you think that certain regions were gatekeeping their style because of the fact that other people wouldn't have been able to relate to them or have the same type of beliefs they did, so that's why they didn't like teach it out?
Yeah, you're not part of our culture. We're not going to teach you. Or this fighting system is part of our culture, and to share it to teach it to outsiders, you wouldn't invite people into your house and let them go into your mom and dad's bedroom and jump on the bed. Like that's just, you don't do that.
Definitely not.
And so that this fighting knowledge is kind of that level of close to the heart, right? We're
Okay.
just not gonna, and to even ask is sort of like, what's wrong with you? Why would you even? Right?
Yeah.
Because like in Okinawa, they taught the U.S. service members how to fight to a degree, but if you asked about testing, you would never progress from that point forward because culturally you don't ask. You don't trust your teacher to tell you when it's time to progress. You're going to ask me when you're going to progress. Who do you think you are? But that's Asian cultural lens where, dumb American, I want the thing. I'm going to ask for the thing. Duh. How are you supposed to know if I don't ask? And so, yeah, is
No,
it right? Is it wrong? It just is.
no, I can see it from both point of view. Like, growing up in America, the one true saying is closed mouths don't get fed.
That's right.
Out here.
Yeah.
But I also see it from the Eastern point of view that you have a mentor who's, over over overlooking your training and your progress, and they could see the flaws in your style or in your stances, and they're like, yeah,
Or you're
you
thinking.
still, or you're thinking, and they're like, yeah, you still don't have it all together yet. You still need to work on it. I'll let
Yep.
you know when you're ready to move forward.
That's right. But the fact that you even ask already disqualifies you from progressing. You already have the wrong wudi. Wudi is martial spirit or martial etiquette. Molduk in Cantonese, wudi in Mandarin. And you're supposed to know that stuff. And if you don't know that stuff, no one's going to tell you, but you're supposed to know it. Like there's some interesting things sometimes. And part of it too in Chinese culture, especially in the South, if you cause problems and you're my student, I get to pay for the damages, not you. Because I taught you the skill. So now I'm going to gatekeep even harder because I don't want to be on the hook. And then on the other side, there's a concept called protect the rice bowl, which is if I teach you everything I know, now you become competition in the marketplace. So I'm not going to teach you until, traditionally you're not supposed to teach until your teacher dies. But realistically, I move away, you're never going to know I'm teaching. I'm going to teach, make some money on the side. And so it's like, it's this hard place of like, I don't want to teach you too much because you could be a danger and cause problems that I have to fix. And I don't want to teach you too much because you could leave me and I lose an income source. So that's kind of been part of human culture forever, right? You look at the founding fathers and the indentured servitude. We're going to bring you in for 7 years. You're going to work for me, but I'm going to teach you a skill. But then now I just taught a competitor. If I bring in a slave, I don't have to teach them anything and I could keep them till they die. That makes more economic sense. So it's like that's why so much of this stuff was difficult to decouple. It wasn't so simple as just to say that's wrong, stop it, because there were lots of other factors involved, and it took violent resistance to make it stop. And that's what needed to happen, unfortunately.
But when it comes to like the fighting styles and all that, are all of them kind of like equal, or there's like some fighting styles that do a better job than others? Like, how do you compare and contrast? Like for instance, like when you first started, what style or what school did you start off at? What did you end up mastering? Like, how did you choose all that when there's like mad different styles, mad different practitioners, and all that stuff?
Yeah. Well, I lived in Dayton, Ohio, and I went to pretty much all the schools in town and checked out what they were doing, and asked questions and just kind of gauged where they were at. And my teachers, Grandmaster Benny Ming, Wing Chun Museum, Dayton, Ohio, Huber Heights, Ohio, world recognized expert, fantastic guy. I've been with him for 31 years. Um, I was asking questions, and he said something that was like perfect for me, which is, I've been trying to prove this wrong my whole life. See if you can do better. See if you can break it, because I can't. And I'm like, motherfucker, let's do this. Like, I'm 20 years old. Like, all right, let's go. I'm gonna show you. And 31 years, I'm still here.
So, so by that little tidbit, I'm gonna assume, and I might be an ass for assuming, but I would assume that you a person chooses the style best best resonates with them mentally versus physically.
Hopefully, the truth is, most people go with what is in proximity or what's convenient to them.
Yeah,
Right. For a while, I was connected with Grandmaster Stephen Oliver, Mile High Karate, and at his height, he was doing $120,000 to $180,000 a year in Denver, Colorado, marketing Mile High Karate, and he had like 16 locations. And he was dumping like 10 to 15,000 a month. He was doing a Saturday infomercial. He had flyers in the newspapers. Like, he was doing everything. And what he found was, it did not get Mile High Karate market share. It raised the interest in martial arts in Denver, Colorado across the board. People would see the ads, see the stuff, and then they would go, oh, well, let's see who's nearby. And they would go to a school that was close to them
yeah,
first. Not brand loyalty, not best quality. It was convenience
yeah,
first, because it's a lot of work. I'm not an expert. I'm just going to trust the person doing the thing. I'm going to trust they're an expert. Whether they are or not is a completely different thing. People don't really shop martial arts schools. They either go to the one that's closest to them, or they don't go to any, because it's too much brain power to care. Well, we've got Joey in band and soccer, and he's running, and he's doing baseball, and he's doing football. We want to put him in martial arts too, because we heard it was good. And like, your
yeah.
kid's doing 6 different things, and you wonder why you're stressed and eating out of your car and racing left and right all the time. Well, you kind of did that to yourself.
True,
And
true.
so people will tend to just whatever's convenient. And if they stick with it long enough, then they'll start to reach out and branch out. And so I started in Grandmaster Ming school. He was teaching Shaolin, he was teaching Wing Chun, he was teaching Tai Chi, he was teaching Taekwondo. And I was there like all the time, so I just did everything. And over time, we've really dug into Shaolin Wing Chun, really dug into the origins of the system and the Shaolin temples. We're now currently, our lineage is recognized by both the Northern and Southern Shaolin. It's called Shaolin Wing Chun. It's based on research we've been doing since 95.
Yeah,
And in digging into that, we found what's the core essence of Shaolin, and not all of it is still in China. Some of it left. And so we've had really good fortune to research the system, research into the secret societies, and there's stuff that we have that's like literally, it's like out of a comic book or a historical novel. It's like, it's crazy. But there is no style in the sense of, you have a system that's put together at some level of efficiency, and then there's the human operator. So you have to separate the system of training from the person operating it, because those are two different plot lines. There's always a human element.
yeah,
And if I train you at like 80% capacity, but under stress you naturally degrade 10%, then you're going to be at 70% overall. If I train you in a system that's 90% capacity, you're still going to have that 10% human factor, which is going to put you to 80%.
yeah,
Right? So then we go to, okay, I've got this system. They train really good. They train really hard. But if the training methods are unrealistic, everything's a fixed drill. Everything is a step by step. Everything is I'm going to do this, and then you do this, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this. Reality is, bad guys cheat because they're bad guys, and they don't fight right. Right? They do things wrong because they weren't trained how to attack properly. And so if you don't learn to handle formlessness, handle reality and chaos, you're going to be in trouble. So I have certifications in Wing Chun, Tai Chi, Taekwondo, Krav Maga, cardio kickboxing. Uh, uh, I've done workshops and seminars and training in jujitsu and judo. Um, but Tong Bei, which is the internal system, Bagua, Xingyi, like I've got experience in a wide variety of knowledge and skills and systems, but I've got multiple certifications because the culture matters, the methodology matters, the training format matters, the mindset of the person. Because if I'm able to drop into the black and operate in lethal force, and you are only in sports and competition mode and what's legal, you're going to have a problem.
True.
Right. And that's not to say, oh, I'm so dangerous. I'm going to poke you in the eye and I'm going to kick you in the knee. It's like, you can say that and be as whatever as you want. But now go try and do that to someone who's an elite level competitor, who's in condition, who's well experienced, who's comfortable with range, has a massive pain tolerance. It's not so easy just to poke someone in the eye, especially if they're non-consenting. It's not so easy just to blow someone's knee out because you think you can. And so people get into this martial art mythos of like, oh, I'm so dangerous and I'm gonna da da da. It's like, bro, when's the last time you sparred? When's the last time you fought for like half an hour without stopping? During just after COVID, I had my school down in Centerville, and Grandmaster Ming had his school up in Huber Heights. They were doing some fight training down at my school, and I came in to play with the fight team. And I was in my 40s, and the fight team, they're mostly in their 20s, and a little out of shape, a little overweight because of whatever. But then I sparred with the team, and I did 35 minutes with no breaks, and it was all stand up punching kicks. But it was like, 2-minute rounds. Cool. Next guy, 2-minute round. Next guy, 2-minute round. Let's just go. And because I know my angles better than they do, I know my distance better than they do. And so I'm able to pick angles, and I'm able to force them to fight my game, or I can interrupt them, or I can cut them, or I can stretch their bridge so that they strike into air, but I'm right at the edge. So that what makes it a strike dangerous is like the last 4 inches, because that's like they're coming towards you. But as soon as you can reach that end, as they're starting to recover, they're open. And if they're fighting a left-right rotation, when I throw this hand, I have to rotate, and this hand's not a threat yet until it starts to get past the half point. Well, there's time to play inside there. Yeah. And if you know the timing and you can read a person's distance, and as they go to punch you, you can feel the distance, you can just kind of glance it. So it's just right here and slides. And then you just follow that hand right back into their face because they're open.
So what's the difference between like a competition fighter and a lethal fighter? Like somebody who could actually do it, like if they got ran up on by a group of guys that they can actually defend themselves versus somebody who practices only for sport.
Yeah, you've got to throw in unexpected stuff. You've got to have people jumping you when you don't expect it.
Yeah.
You've got to add unknown elements into. So like if I wanted to do that for a student, right, we're going to do like a sparring class, and then in the middle of sparring class, their opponent's going to pull a rubber knife and stab them. Right? Because now you've got to immediately switch from competition body structure, because you don't want to find out how many knife strikes you can take.
Yeah, you definitely don't.
Right? Because once you start bleeding, you get slick, and when you get hit with a knife, it doesn't feel like you got cut. It feels like you got punched. Like it's because it's an impact.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to feel like, even if it's a slice, it's going to feel like a hit, and you're not going to necessarily realize you're bleeding unless you look. Right? There was a competition I went to, the Arnold Classic, and they were having a competition for knife fighters, and they had to wear like white outfits, and they had like these special, like it's a fighting knife, but it has like a felt tip pen kind of structure on it. Right?
Oh,
the person who won got sliced 22 times. I'm like, now you both should be dead. Like, you both lose. There's no winner here.
Yeah,
because you get hit along like someone says, "Oh, I'm an expert knife fighter," and they have no cuts on them. Nah, that's bullshit.
That's bullshit.
Because even if you're good with a knife, you're still going to stab yourself because you're moving and grooving and doing dumb stuff. If you're using live steel, you're going to bleed. Right? Yeah. And so it's like, you've got to introduce chaos. You've got to introduce unexpected stuff. It's not safe. It's not sanctioned. It's not, insurance isn't going to cover it, but that's how you train people to respond. And then we've got to put you in simulations and put you in circumstances. So like when I went through the Krav certification, we trained with people pull a gun on you and you got to disarm and counterattack. You got to recognize range. How do you negotiate range? How do you negotiate where your reach is to get a hold of the weapon? And when you think you're good at it, cool. Now we're going to do it with a pellet gun. Because you reach for the gun, I see you move, I shoot you with a pellet. Like, I got you.
You're done for,
right?
yeah.
You want next layer, more reality? Cool. We're going to do it with paintball. Because we got to train the reality. You get it wrong, you're dead. There is no second place. So you've really got to be hair trigger, and you've got to be able to go to 100 from 0 to 100 with no hesitation. And we've got to introduce that. But if all we're doing is that, and we're not doing your conditioning, and we're not doing like distance awareness, like it's a both and, it's not an either or, is where I'm going with this, right? Because it's not like, oh, I got this. We say it in Chinese all the time. There's no jiu. There's no ultimate technique, right? It's this Venn diagram of things that overlap, and your skill floats in there. I had a private student who was an FBI agent, and he realized these skills are perishable. It's like, if you're not hitting stuff on a regular basis, your timing degrades, your distance awareness degrades. And even if you're hitting bags don't hit back.
True.
Bags don't have an opinion. Bags don't adjust timing, or there's things they don't do that you can't get. To get good at hitting people, you got to hit people. It's just reality.
No, it's one of those, with fighting, is one of those skills that you constantly have to practice and constantly have to put yourself in real life situations. Yeah. Because if not,
then once you start to realize there's certain angles and positions. Because like, if I put up a fighting posture like this, where are you going to hit me? Probably not over here. Probably more on this side. Cool. Do you think I know that?
You do.
But if I give you this, where are you going to hit me? I don't know. I don't know. You don't know. It's because I'm totally covered up, which is okay. Like, I want to train my students here as a base. But now if I'm asking you a question, I'm giving you an opportunity. And if you take it, I know you're going to take it. And I can cut angles around you. I can come around the outside and come around the inside. So depending on where you go, if I'm inviting you, I'm funneling you in to a probability of certain types of attacks. And if you try to go around me to come over here, you got to waste time, which I have time to enter into. And now you're open for counters, right? And so that's where you start to get at a higher level. You start to realize there's only so many ways we can set up on each other.
True.
And they're going to set up like not to sit there and go, you're going to do this move, I'm going to do this move, I'm going to do this move. It's just, it's setting it up, and then it's knowing how to intercept. Because then once contact is made, that's when the skill comes out. And that's where, do you really have it or not? Do you think you have it, or do you actually have it? And if you're an eye dominant fighter, you got to see what's going on. If you can close your eyes and from contact, now I feel where you are and I can adjust you. So I do demonstrations. I put a jacket on my head and tie it around so I can't hear, I can't see. But you touch my hand, I know where you are.
Because you're using your other senses as well.
Yeah, because I can feel your gravity. I can feel your body. Are you pressing my center? Or are you pressing my arm? Because if you press my arm, that's not threatening me. That's one way to deal with it. But if you're pressing my center of gravity, that's a different sensation, and that requires a different handling. But if I can take your balance, now you're fighting your own balance plus me. You got two opponents.
True. So like,
I don't even have to dominate your balance. I just have to get you on your heels. That affects.
No, I get that. So like practicing like the multiple martial arts kind of gives you that edge where you could thrive in chaos.
Yeah, it's all movement patterns, and just having more awareness of more potential movement patterns.
Okay. Are there any like styles, quote unquote, that are like just straight BS, or is just for show?
No, it's always the training method in the individual.
Okay.
Anything could be dangerous. Anything can be lethal. Like the old school Tai Chi, those guys were undefeated. But like the way if you practice 22, I'm gonna do a 22 step restricted form. I'm gonna do the Yang Long form. Okay, cool. Are you doing Toi Sao, which is push hands? Well, no. Okay, then you're doing Tai Chi as a dance or as a form for exercise. You're doing slow karate, right? And that's not an insult. It's to say you've got to touch the energy. You've got to learn the reactional skills. And so you do push hands. There's push hands this way. There's push hands this way. You've got to learn to handle energy flow in range and distance to find out where the openings are. But then even if you do push hands, cool. Now are you doing Lutz? Are you doing offhand attacks? because that's the next skill. Once I have my reactional skills, I know where I belong on contact. Cool. Now we got to have an attack from non-contact to learn how to connect the bridge and then get to the right position where you can take control.
I
That's the
got
next
you on that.
skill. But I can do the form. I can do the form so good. Okay. But like in China, the wushu athletes, they are martial athletes, and they talk about martial arts like an athletic skill. So like twists and turns and jump into a 360 and do a 520 or a 580 or a 780 or whatever the number. The Sanda fighters, punching, kicking, takedowns, sweeps, throws, they're thinking fighting skill, and those two groups don't agree with each other because they're so far apart. We can sit in the middle and appreciate both sides because both of those
Definitely.
are beneficial.
No, that's definitely true. So how about like, and this is something I heard. How about like dim mak, the touch of death, right? With the pressure points. I've always wanted somebody to like debunk that for me. Does that actually work? Can you actually like um immobilize somebody just by like pressure pointing, like just whap 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 whap?
Kinda, but like it's not 100% because some people
Okay,
are stupid and don't notice.
okay,
Right. So there's a friend of mine, John Crescione, and he's a Wing Chun guy out in New Jersey. He was working with the New York Jets for a while as a chiropractor because that's his real job. And so he had a couple of professional and NFL players as students. And so he tried pressure points on those guys, and it might work, but they'll feel it next week because they're so big and so strong and so athletic, and their bodies are so conditioned to impact. Like for you to think that unless you're at that same level of physicality, because
yeah.
like they're in Chinese Wei Qi, their guardian Qi is so strong that like you're gonna attack them, and if your energy can't break through, like shut up. But the other part to know, like historically, is in the secret societies, they carried needles, and so a lot of the pressure points, you take a bamboo needle with a like a chopstick that has a
Yeah.
sharpened end, and now you hit people on those pressure points with a needle that's stuck in your hand. That's more what was actually going on, rather than I'm going to hit you.
Oh,
But if we ever meet up in person, I'll do this thing where I put my hand like this and I just do this right here, and it literally will feel like a nail shooting through your shoulder.
damn.
But I can do it. I can do it standing on 1 foot. It's because it's not a mass thing. But what if I did that and I did that to like the side of your head and I do that into your eyeball of your eye, your corner of your eye, or do
Yeah,
it into
yeah,
your jaw, right?
yeah.
And it's just it's an impulsive energy. It's called ging. It's a trained skill. But just knowing how to do that, I still got to deliver it in the right time and place. I still got to be able to get to that moment in conflict with someone who's not cooperating. Those are more complicated skills. And so, yeah, there is some pressure point stuff, kind of, sort of, but also depends on where the chi is on the person you're attacking, because there certain people, you might not be weak in your lung, but I'm going to hit you on a lung point and it's not going to do anything because your lung is so strong,
Mhm.
right? There's no guarantee.
And when it comes down to like chi and that whole, all right, two things. Can you break down what chi actually is versus like what everybody thinks chi is? Because I'm I watch anime. I don't watch the old school
Yeah.
kung fu movies and all this other shit. So chi to me is like this invisible life force that everyone has, and certain people know how to harness it and like kind of like boost them up a little bit. But I know chi is probably something way different from
Well,
that.
there's chi as a concept, because
Yeah.
chi is the ability of a thing to be a thing and the ability to transform into another thing. All of that is chi,
Okay.
right? And so when it comes to like the internal arts, there's three main pieces that matter: chi, jing, and shen. Shen is spirit, your willpower type of deal, your sense of righteousness, your sense of ability to push through adversity and that sort of stuff. Jing comes from your scrotum.
Yeah.
It's for guys, it's semen. It's your There's prenatal chi and postnatal chi. Well, it's manufactured basically from your jing.
Yeah.
And as a kid, you're running a lot on prenatal chi. Then you go through puberty, you start to run off postnatal chi. You still have a little bit of prenatal chi. And then when you study qigong, it's like learning how to be more efficient on transferring the energy so you can run
Yeah.
more on a youthful vitality.
Yeah.
Um, like, how old do you think I am? If I shave this off, especially, how old do you think I am?
If you shave, I'll give you mid 30s. If you shave with the beard, I'll give you 43, 44.
51.
Nice. You look good for
Yeah.
51, man.
Yeah, yeah, because I'm running a lot on. I've been practicing ejaculation control for 30 years, and I've been doing Qigong for 30 years, so that helps.
True.
I also ran back in January. I ran the Dopey Challenge, which is a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, a full marathon in 4 days. I trained a
Nice.
year for that, but like, yeah, I'm still very much excited about life and in playing and engaging, and so that knowing how to like run off a different energy source, there's exercises and things we can do to cultivate that. But then chi is kind of like it's like your life vitality, and you get some chi from your food, but you
Yeah.
get some chi from your prenatal chi from when you were born. You got it from your parents, and there is this idea chi is kind of your vitality. It's kind of your life force, and it's affected by your shen, your mindset. Because if you wake up and fuck today, God, I'm gonna do this shit,
Yeah.
and then you go to an industrial place where there's nothing living, there's no nature. Yeah, you're surrounded by a lack of vitality, right? Versus
Yeah.
where I'm at in Florida, I've got a little lake right here outside my house. I've got another one over there. We got some alligators. We got crazy ass birds. I got a nature conservatory within, it's a mile and a half away. So I can jog out to that and walk around for a while. So like there's lots of nature around me, and I'm out in nature pretty much every single day for 20, 30 minutes out walking. So it allows me to breathe, allows me even breathing. If you take a deep breath, put your hand on your chest, put your hand on your belly, take a deep breath. Oh, don't mess up your mic. But take a deep breath. What moves? Does your top hand move or your bottom hand move?
Both, actually.
Yeah, but you're breathing a lot of rock in this. When I breathe, it's my belly.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm breathing lower in my lung, which means I have to use less effort to breathe. If you breathe fast 10 times, you're going to hyperventilate because
No, true.
because you're breathing up here. Your body has to expend blood and energy to open your lungs and close your lungs. You're raising your center of gravity. I'm breathing from my lower belly button. I'm breathing from my diaphragm dropping.
Mm. Okay, I got you. So it's gotta breathe from the belly, from the center.
Yeah, if you're going to be a musician, if you're going to be a public speaker, right? If you're going to sing, you got to breathe from breathe from your diaphragm is more sustainable. So it's longer.
Okay.
If you're going to project your voice, you got to breathe low. Like breathing up here, you'll gas, right? So this idea of chi, it is an energy force. It is kind of a bioelectrical energy. You can cultivate it to help actually heal yourself and heal others.
Yeah.
But it requires awareness, sensitivity, patience, visualization, imagination. Um, there are things we can do that are just insane if we train properly. Grandmaster Ming has a Qigong course, and within 100 days, if you do everything you're supposed to do within 100 days, you can actually emit heat on command into your palms, which you can use to start helping other people to feel better. His teacher was actually during World War II was healing people on the battlefield, and they did a study in China. They did open heart surgery with no anesthesia. It was a qigong master blocking the pain signals, and it was his teacher doing it. And no anesthesia, but they could block the pain signals, and you could do open heart surgery and no pain.
Because I was just about to ask, that isn't that the whole practice of like qigong and shifting
Mhm.
the energies and like being
Yeah,
able to like have like the healing touch?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's a dedicated focus, and if you're gonna go that route, like how you think matters and how you respond to people matters, and like living in a culture that's so reactionary and so everything we have to fight and struggle, and really hard to heal other people when your own inner world is clouded. So you've got to find your peace and find your center first. Can't take people to a place you're not.
True.
So
And
if you're going to heal, you got to be in a good place.
true, true. And how important is it, like, even outside of martial arts, like how important is it for somebody to find their peace, to like find their center?
Well, what do you think?
For me it's the one thing that I treasure the most.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
So in life, you either get a loving response or a cry for help.
True.
It's either going to be positive energy or negative energy. If someone gives you positive, it's warm, it's big, it's happy.
Mm,
That's a loving response. If
true.
they give you anything else than a loving response, they're in a negative place. There's small, sad, cold going on inside them. They are reactionary. They are wounded. They are defensive. And as long as you have unresolved stuff, you got to protect and keep people away from. You have to fight. Versus if you just own your stuff, and it's like, yeah, that happened. And here's
I
what I
get
did
it.
with it.
I
Here's
get
what I learned. That's one of the things I do. Part of my life as a master hypnotherapist. I have a protocol that I take people through. It's about 2.5 hours, but we take anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt, and we unplug it from your life. And it stops being something you live in, and it becomes more like a light on a dashboard of like, oh, I'm not okay with that. Oh, this is somebody's violating a boundary or a rule. And now instead of the emotion hijacking your system and you go into the stress response, you have more capacity to breathe and to own the moment and to respond instead of react, and just own, I'm not okay with that. No, I got to take a step back because I feel what's going on. And it's like, it's not from a place of like, I'm going to cope with or manage. It's, we're going to resolve the source of whatever's going on. So like I did this for a client 2 weeks ago and ran the process. He's in the middle of kind of just after a divorce,
Yeah.
and hey, how are things going? Well, I'm going to meet up with my now ex-wife later today, where I'm getting some things from her, blah blah blah. No anxiety, no stress, no tension, no fear. After the exchange, he was like, well, she did a couple of things to try to provoke me, and before I would have argued or tried to justify myself, and I just said, that's okay. I didn't even fight with her. I didn't even care to fight with her. I didn't have a need because she's not really listening to me anyway. She just wants to be right. And so within one session, he now has peace that he can feel in his nervous system. It's not a story. It's not a faith. It's not a hope. It's certainty, because he learned what he needed to learn to let go of those old emotions. And now he doesn't need to defend himself against someone who only wants to make him wrong. Like, he realizes the game and like, I don't need to play that game, and not make her wrong for the game, because obviously she's not in a great place inside
Yeah.
and she's defending something, and she has a right to be where she is and feel what she feels, comma,
Of course.
and that doesn't mean we have to join her in jumping into the shit fest.
That's true on that.
And so it's a process. It's hard to get people to realize or to believe it's possible, because I'm like, yeah, I guarantee the shift. Like, it's amazing.
No,
And
it
yeah,
is. It definitely is, especially when especially when people learn how to finally let that weight go and kind of like start flying on their, on their purpose, and
yeah,
living life, and not letting other people kind of dictate where their emotion is, and
yeah.
let other people manipulate them into feeling shitty about themselves.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
just they're offering you an invitation. You don't have to take it.
That's true on that.
Right. It's the same thing when someone throws a punch. That's an invitation.
Yeah.
Right. You're offering me a bridge. You're offering me a connection point. I can accept that, or I can refuse it. And if I refuse the violence you offer me and give it back to you, and you get hurt on your own self, or you get hurt walking into my time and space, that's not on me. I didn't
That's
start
on you.
this. I have a right to my freedom. I have a right to my existence just as much as you do. I didn't go out of my way to enter your time and space. You chose to enter my time and space.
And
And
do
so
you
that's how we get to that place of center, because I know who and what I am. I know where I stand. I know what I am.
all right? And do you see
Yeah.
that a lot of people kind of like resist getting to that place, or like
Yeah.
have a very difficult time like letting that go because that's so embedded in their identity?
Yeah, because their identity is immersed in their wound, and now they want to
Yeah.
argue for the pain, or you don't understand. It's so bad. It's so this. It's so that. I'm like, respectfully, and no shade. It is bad, and you have the power to let it go. Nobody else can make you, right? No one can make you suffer except yourself. They can give you pain. They can give you the most horrible experiences. But to suffer for it, you have to tell a story that keeps you at the effect of whatever they did.
Yeah.
And when we learn to tell a different story, learn how to feel a different story, learn how to believe a different story, that's your freedom. Right? Because I don't have to get mad about the thing that you did. I can just not accept it.
That's 100%
And
true.
now I don't need to be angry about it and defensive about it. And no, but you don't understand. And I have a right to be this way. And it's like, no harm, no foul. There's a lady in New York City who a guy in Central Park hid in the women's restroom and he jumped her. And she has a t-shirt that she's selling, and it's the GPS of her beating the shit out of him in the bathroom. And I'm like, hell yeah, awesome
Hell
job. And
yeah.
I was like, hell yeah, that's beautiful. Do that. That's what I'm teaching my daughter too. And I had some lady jump my shit because she was like, oh, so it's okay with you that we do this. It's okay if we defend ourselves. How dare you? Why don't you da da da? I'm like, well, respectfully, I've been teaching sexual violence prevention to people 3 to 94 for several years. I've taught in colleges. I've got programs. I've got courses. I've got. Well, you need to do this. Hey, I'm sorry somebody hurt you. You don't know anything about me. You don't know about my life. Okay.
Like, whoa.
Like she's got so much energy. Like I realize she is carrying such a deep wound.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do to add value or to help reduce her suffering. There's nothing I can do because she is living in a place where all men are the villain, all men are evil, all men are wrong. Okay. There's nothing I can do to shift that story because I am part of that class that she has decided is the enemy. So I can respectfully exit the conversation.
Definitely. And
I
not
don't, need,
engage.
I, don't, I don't need to get mad at her. I don't, you bitch, how dare you? Like none of that. No need. You're already hurting enough. There's nothing I can do. Right. And there's no need to add more fuel to that fire. I see how much you're hurting.
That's a fact.
You
That's a
know?
big
And it's like that's ownership. Like I can own my impact and I can respond to her and not react. Do I as a human? Like, lady, you're jumping my shit. Like I didn't do this. In fact, I have been fighting for a very long time because I was sexually assaulted at 5 and 6. I know what it's like. I know what it's like not to be able to trust adults or trust kids or trust anybody. Right? 7
I
years
get that.
old, I can't be safe with anybody anywhere ever. And it would happen outside of the home, but my parents are sus too because they don't know what's going on with me. They don't understand why I'm upset. They don't care to figure it out. They don't have the ability. I didn't let them see it either because fuck them. Because like, no, I'm not safe. And if they find out that I got hurt because I went where I wasn't supposed to, I'm gonna get in trouble again. So I can't let anybody know what happened. That's a really shitty place to be at 6 years old.
Yeah. And especially the fact that, at that time, parenting education was very old school and different from what it is today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had great parents that gave me unconditional love and really tried to live their spirituality, but I am wrong and I should be rejected and I should be punished, and like I hated myself, and because I had internalized, like somehow some part of me believed I deserved the abuse, which I didn't, but I believed it because I went out where I wasn't supposed to, and so I got punished because you get punished when you break the rules. I broke the rules. And so I was out where I wasn't supposed to be. A security guard abused me. But I can't tell my parents because if I tell my parents that I was out where I wasn't supposed to be, I'm going to get in trouble again.
That's true.
And I don't know what they're going to do. So I'm not going to do anything. I'm never going to get caught.
That's a fact.
Right. And so it's like I grew up in that for like I had to socialize myself because I couldn't trust teachers. I couldn't trust other kids. I couldn't trust anybody. That's a really shitty place to be.
Yeah.
And some part of me believed. Well, let's play tic-tac-toe. Yeah,
especially when you're that young and like you know something bad happened to you and you don't have anybody to express that to and let that steam off and release that pressure, especially when you want to tell your parents because those are supposed to be your guardians and your caretakers and the people you feel safe with. But even if you don't feel safe with them, it's just something that festers, man.
Can't run that risk. And so they didn't know about the abuse till my mid-30s. It just took time, and I'm now at a different place with all of that. And that's why I picked up the master certification in hypnotherapy and NLP. And that's why I do the process that I do, is because I know what it's like. Like, I don't judge anybody. I'm not qualified. I've done so much dumb shit. I'm lucky to be alive. I will help you evaluate your game and your story and create something better. But I'm never going to judge you. I had a client who, he's a felon because he held his grandmother at knife point to get crack. And he was terrified to tell me because he's terrified I'm going to judge him. And I said, well, are you that guy? And he said, no. And I said, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So I understand you are massively resourceful when you are pushed to an edge. Let's never get to that edge ever again.
Ever again.
Right? But that does complicate your life because, like, trying to find jobs, you have to tell people you're a felon. Like, that does complicate some things. All right, let's cut out the stuff that you can't go apply for. Let's go find what you can apply for. Let's go find what you are good at, what you do enjoy doing. Like, let's focus on the wins, because learning to win is a whole lot easier than don't lose. Because
True.
don't lose is a lot more work, and it's a lot more focused on what you don't want. Because if you're focused on don't lose, you're obsessing about losing. If you focus on win, cool, where can you win? Where can you get your desired result? Where can you achieve? Same thing, I want to hit the person. Well, they got hands up. Cool, then don't hit the door that's closed. How can you create an opening, or make them give you an opening, or invite them to attack you, which gives you an opening? Or can you just overwhelm them because you just have more power and more physicality than they do,
True enough. True enough.
right? There's
That's
no wrong. You just want to win. All
no.
right, let's win. Like,
Let's make it happen. But yo, Jay,
it's
before I let you go, I do have one final question for you, and this is something
yeah.
that I ask. This is something I ask all my guests. Right? Do you have any words of wisdom, final thoughts, or advice for the roomies?
Yeah, appreciate instead of expect, right? Expectation leads to obligation. Obligation leads to entitlement. And when you believe you are entitled to anybody's anything, their time, their money, their body, their opinion, anything, that's the death of all the good stuff. So don't expect. Expect nothing. You'll always be surprised. Because if you get nothing, it's fine. I expected nothing. You get something not nothing, that's interesting. That's cool. Let's go play. But expectation leads to obligation. Now you're punishing people and you're mad at them because they didn't do what they were supposed to. When did they sign up? When did they agree to that? Right? And then from that obligation, we get to entitlement. Entitlement kills. The antidote to all three is appreciation. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being authentic. Thank you for being, when I screw you over, thank you for showing me who you are. And thank you for self-selecting out of my life, because I'm not going to go that path.
That's a big fact.
Let that shit go. Same thing in fighting. You get hit. Cool. You were open. The only way they hit you is you had an opening. You did something wrong. Adjust. Thank you for the feedback. I'm still alive. I can adapt. Thank you. That's the best attitude.
I feel you. And roomies, remember, find your peace, find your center, adapt to your situations, and always stay open to receiving new knowledge. But when you do receive that knowledge, teach it to others and spread it, because hoarding knowledge ain't the best thing. And with that, peace out.